Hey gardeners, check out all of this beautiful, gorgeous, homegrown, organic produce that I grew in my garden in just a couple of days. This is what we harvested. This is like 2 days of harvesting and doesn't include the broccoli and the green beans and the kale that we harvested and the acorn squash. Now, if I was like other gardeners who like to overhype gardening and make things look too good to be true, I would stop here and just be like, I'm an amazing gardener. But I'm not one of those, and you should be careful about watching gardeners who overhype things and make it seem too easy and too perfect, and like everything you can grow, 100 pounds of tomatoes for $1. I'm going to show you the truth behind this beautiful couple days of harvest right now. So we're going to go out in the garden and I'll show you guys the reality. But this is a great yield, but I will show you what else is going on out there behind the camera, behind the scenes. All right, so let's wait out here and see what else happens in our yard to make you maybe feel a little bit better about your own yard. So we can start right here with this Blue Hubbard squash plant. This big old plant that just has this one little squash on it. That's it, just one little squash on this one big plant. And now let's go down here. This bed that I had planted a whole bunch of cabbages and broccolis and kale and Brussels sprouts in, that now just has 4 sad cabbages and 1 happy kale left in it. Out of about 20 plants that we started with, the rest died from various things throughout the season, and the ones that are alive are all chewed on. Next to that one in this bed, our cabbage bed, look at these cabbages. Do you see how sad that is? They are, if I was a farmer, I would not be able to sell these. I'm not even sure that we can even find anything to salvage from that to eat ourselves. This one we might be able to salvage, that one maybe a little bit of it, but once these cabbages finally got to looking big and beautiful, they were first attacked by cabbage worms, which is a caterpillar, and then they were eaten every night by slugs. I came out here every night with a flashlight, picking the slugs off them and yeeting them across the yard, but it would be about 20 slugs a night that I would find just devouring these cabbages. Did you know that slugs can do that kind of damage? If I hadn't seen them doing it with my own eyes, I would have thought this was a rabbit or my own dog who likes to sneak off and try to eat my brassicas. I would have never guessed that that was slugs, except that I saw them doing it. So, slug damage. I will get some broccoli out of this bed, hopefully. Who knows what's going to happen? Oh, almost fell off and died. Who knows what's going to happen with these Brussels sprouts here? And there were onions. Some of the onions rotted. So yeah, this bed here, I had planted 6 melon plants in it. And out of those 6 melon plants, only 1 is surviving right now. This one banana melon, and it has just 2 fruits on it right now. This was our potato bed. The potatoes have since senesced. We have gotten some potatoes out of that bed. Not a lot, but maybe like 4 or 5 potatoes per plant that was in there, and we had about 12 plants, so not a bad yield. This is our bell pepper, kale, and bean bed that has been taken over by volunteer Roma tomatoes and volunteer quinoa. The kale, again, has been devoured by cabbage worms. There's not much kale that we'll be getting out of this bed. The beans have done pretty okay, actually. And the banana peppers that I planted here are doing pretty okay. But the kale, between the cabbage worms and the volunteer quinoa that's taken over, not going to get too much out of that. Now over here, got some zucchini plants that were doing great, but now, what is that? What's going on here? Why are they white? That, my friends, is powdery mildew that I do believe came from the lilacs in the yard that are going to have to be gone. Forget the lilacs. Stupid, useless lilacs. But we've gotten so much zucchini from these that I am not doing anything about the powdery mildew because it's okay if the plants die at this point. Obviously, I'm not happy about it. You know, what gardener isn't greedy and doesn't want as much produce as they can get out of the yard? But yeah, this is powdery mildew. There are a lot of different fungicides you can use to spray on them, but I do not have time to be out here spraying all the time for something as common as powdery mildew. And the cool, moist mornings and nights we've had have just helped to exacerbate the situation. Powdery mildew loves it cool and moist as we've had it. So powdery mildew's doing well. The zucchinis are on their way out. We had so many weeds take over what this garden was, and critters eating all my brassicas that I had planted here and my beans. So yeah, the asparagus is still growing. I have some carrots, but you can see the weeds got ahead of me. I didn't have time to weed, and so I don't know, maybe I'll get like 3 carrots out of this. We'll see when I'm brave enough to pull them. And maybe next year I'll stay on top of the weeds, maybe. Who knows? But I've got some garbanzo beans in here. I don't know if you can see them through all the weeds. That's one of the garbanzo bean plants. Not enough to like make a meal out of, but enough for me to harvest those seeds and save them for next year. And next year maybe have enough plants to get a good harvest. My tomatoes are actually looking pretty great. They've been taking a while to ripen, but they're looking pretty great. Not too many complaints about that. My basil plants didn't do as well as I'd hoped, but most of my basil plants did die. But they're, you know, hey, it's alive. There's some tomatoes, again, looking good. There's some broccoli plants that just couldn't keep up with the competition from, or the herbivory from slugs and caterpillars, so they're pretty much on their way out. Acorn squash, this one's looking okay. That one's dead. What happened there? It was a vine borer killed the entire vine, so that sucks. But this acorn squash is doing okay. Some lettuce that I planted too late that just straight bolted, and there's some lettuce that's doing okay. Planted a bunch of onions here. Some of them died, the rest are pretty tiny. Very late planted volunteer tomatoes that I just planted just because I could. Here's a watermelon plant that I planted 2 months ago, and it hasn't grown at all. Not at all. And here's another blue Hubbard squash. I had planted 2 here. The one vine has died. From what, I'm not sure. I was trying to diagnose it. My best guess is maybe a fungal disease in the soil. The other plant looks now like it's wilting. Could be because it's super bright out right now and hot, or could be dying from a disease. But maybe I'll be able to get that one squash from it. I don't know. But the blue Hubbard squash, probably won't try it again because it seems to be a pretty weak plant. Here are the honey nut squashes and pie pumpkins I planted along this fence along with a bunch of beans. Where are the beans? Dead. And as are the other squash and pumpkin vines that I planted. What killed them? Slugs. And the vines that are still alive are really scrawny compared to the other ones, which you will have seen in my other video if you watched it. So best guess, the soil's just better in that other spot and the soil sucks here, so I know that for next year. Maybe don't plant those there. Over here is another zucchini plant that is collapsing from diseases. This zucchini, these 2 zucchinis, powdery mildew taken over. Just don't even count on it. My acorn squashes that were over here looking so beautiful, melting. There's a combination of powdery mildew, gummy stem blight, some looks like downy mildew, and one of the vines looked like it got fusarium wilt disease, which is a soil fungus. So, yeah, that's obnoxious, but I did get like 14 squashes out of them before they all died, so what are you going to do? I have a scarlet runner bean somewhere over here that's not growing. These tomatoes are doing amazing. That purple Cherokee bean vine growing up the fence is doing amazing. No complaints there. These broccolis have been competing with herbivory from caterpillars, as have these Brussels sprouts that have been fighting caterpillars. I have pepper plants planted along this fence. I planted them between the tomatoes. I didn't realize how big these tomato vines were going to get, tomato plants, and they completely overwhelmed the pepper plants. So you're not seeing any pepper plants because they've been demolished by the tomatoes. Note to self for next year, the tomatoes up here need about 5 feet between each plant, and don't put pepper plants next to them. This cucumber vine's doing great. No complaints there. Potato plants have been doing great. They're dying now, but they're supposed to. They're supposed to be dying now. No complaints there. They're doing great. I had planted in this little row here of dirt a whole bunch of seedlings for the fall harvest. and they all are not sprouted. They probably sprouted and got eaten by, once again, slugs. So that sucks. So many seeds that I planted that died or got eaten by slugs. This was supposed to be a bunch of little lettuce plants here, gone. Bok choy plants came up, but they're bolting. You can see all the herbivory happening to my kale and broccoli plants over here as they are devoured once again by caterpillars and slugs. My pea plants are dead, as they are supposed to be at this time. They did okay. Hopefully they'll be better next year. This runner bean bloomed a bunch and only put on like 5 bean pods, and that's it. So that's pretty lame. This zucchini plant is the only zucchini plant that I direct seeded. Actually, that's a lie. I direct seeded about 6 zucchini plants. This is the only one that actually survived of the direct seeded plants, but it's doing amazing. It's also the healthiest zucchini plant in the yard. Oh my God, look at that zucchini. Yeah, this one's the most productive, doing really well. So no complaints there, but there are complaints about the other 5 that I direct seeded that didn't make it. And more lettuce plants that are going to seed, which is fine. That's fine, I'll collect those seeds for next year. Cucumber vine, this one's been a straggler. It was planted at the same time as the other cucumber vines, but it has yet to put on a cucumber. It's very slow growing, but that's okay. We've gotten more cucumbers than we can eat, if I'm being honest. I've given some away. I've given a lot away. And yeah. Oh, I have one more sad story to show you. I forgot to show you this bean plant. Oh boy, this is a pole bean that this variety is supposed to have an impressive harvest and super, I don't know, sturdy and does great. And as you can see, the plant is done, and it decided it was done after 2.5 bean pods. 2.5 bean pods, and it just said, okay, that's it, I'm done. So yeah, sometimes that happens. No telling why, because you saw that purple Cherokee bean on the other side of the yard that was happy and healthy. Could be something in the soil. I don't know, okay? This runner bean over here is like the other runner bean, not putting on very many pods, but a lot of flowers, and the hummingbirds love it. So that's good. And the dragon tongue beans that I planted down here have been doing really well, but I decided they're not my favorite bean anymore. I like the pole bean flavor better than the dragon tongue bean. Also, the purple Cherokee bean is even better than that. So I think that's all the sad stories I have for you guys today. Just want to show you the reality of gardening. That, yes, I could just show my beautiful harvests, but I think it's important you guys also see all the failures. All the plants that died or are dying or are covered in fungus and covered in insect damage. All the weeds, like this here, this carpet of bindweed. It's a native plant, I think, maybe. So I've let it grow, but it is taking over the backyard and my veggie beds. But I don't have the time to deal with that. So we're gonna let it do its thing, and then in the next spring maybe we'll keep up with keeping it contained, because it is the host plant for tortoise beetles, which I love. And it is a nice little ground cover and covering up the fence there. But that's a weed that most people would have probably tried to keep pulled. I'm not most people. This is an honest garden. This is what really happens. This is what gardens really look like. And don't beat yourselves up about failures that you have in your own gardens. Thanks for watching, and good luck to you.